Hey everybody, Jay Weidner. Thanks for watching Reality Check. I want to remind everybody that JFKx, Solving the Crime of the Century, is up on Amazon Prime, and it's going to be up on YouTube, Apple TV, Roku, 21 platforms it's going up on. But it is up on Prime, and you can watch it now. And I don't know how well it's doing yet. I haven't gotten any word from my distributor, so I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, that's what I'm here to talk about here today, in fact, is the end of movies. Not really the end of movies, the end of Hollywood as we know it. Movies will still be around and it'll probably actually get better after the period that we're in right now disappears, but it's going to. So, talk about this. So why are movies failing? That's the number one question. And the reason that they're failing is multifaceted, and I'm going to get into all of that. But the first reason why movies are failing is that the writing is terrible. It's terrible. And I don't know why. I mean, I presume that maybe they're hiring people for their sexuality or their skin color instead of their writing ability or something. I don't know what's causing it to happen. My main theory on why the writing is so bad is that this is the millennials now taking over, and they're really we're a very coddled generation, and you can't be a good writer if you lived a coddled life. In fact, the best writers are the ones that go out and make sure their life is not coddled. I asked when I was a young guy, and I asked a very famous writer one time, what's the best thing that you would recommend for a young person to become a good writer? And I was fully expecting him to, say, "Oh, go take literature course and learn how to make sentence structure and something like that." Instead, he said, "Go out and join the Merchant Marines, get in a fight, have sex, get drunk, fall down, have experience, go to some strange place and walk around, look around, and just keep doing that and doing that. After a while, you'll have so many experiences that you'll just naturally be a good writer because your experiences will be so riveting to anyone listening that it really doesn't matter if your story structure isn't right, or your sentence structure isn't right." And so I went, wow, that's interesting. And I went off and tried to not live a coddled life and accept things that were coming at me. So I think that's the main reason. They don't have any experience. So if you have no experience, how can you be a good writer? Watching TV and playing video games is not experience. Life is experience. Getting away from the home, getting away from mom and dad as fast as you can. That's experience. And then, of course, woke has taken over. So, you watch a movie nowadays, I can barely do that anymore. But when you do, you're like waiting for that woke thing to happen, that preachy moment when they start telling you, that you have to pay for the sins of your ancestors and that kind of stuff. So I think that's the main reason that it started going down, movies. And I believe that movies started going down around 2008, 2009. Something happened to this country at that point. You can actually see in the history of films how suddenly we were making was just like goofy superhero movies, and serious filmmaking and suddenly was disappearing, and everything just became kind of a woke nightmare. And it's going to disappear. What's going to happen is that somebody's going to come along, make a low budget film that has a great story, and it's going to break the back of the woke. And they're all going to have to decide whether they want to be you want to make good movies and make money, or you want to make bad movies and lose money. Because the way that the business thing is lined up now, there's no way that Hollywood can survive. So let me explain this, because this is part two. Part one was the bad writing. The directing isn't really all that bad. The effects are, well, there's too much CGI, but it's the writing. It's the writing. And I don't know what process they go through to hire people. In my day, we had to write pretty much free screenplays and send them in. And if they liked the screenplay, then they hired you. It was like, so you had to work for like whatever time it took you to write that free screenplay. So it could pay you 3-6 months for free. Then you hand it in, and then they don't pay you much anyway. So what's going on here is today, and why I know this is the end, is that State Street and BlackRock and all these gigantic investment firms, they more or less talked Hollywood into going with the streaming model. And they did this for, I believe, very nefarious reasons, which was that if they could siphon everything down into one funnel, i.e. streaming, they could control the content, i.e. content they don't want to get through, they could control it. And so the movie business listened to these big investors, and they stopped making movies the way they used to. So the way they used to make movies is that they would, they would have a good screenplay or a book that they were basing something on, and then they would make the movie based on that. They would gather up all the money just for that one movie, and then that one movie had to prove how much it made, whether it won or lost. Nowadays, the big investment firms are investing in movies, and they're investing in gigantic amounts of films being made. So Netflix has 20, 30 films being made. Netflix, by the way, has never, ever made a profit. 25 years now it's been around, never made a profit. Neither has Amazon either. And so we have this glut of content because the investment firms convinced all these corporations to go into streaming. So Disney went into streaming, and Paramount went into streaming, and they're all going into streaming. I work for a streaming company, so I know all about streaming. But what happened is that the streaming companies weren't opening up their books so that the guilds and the unions in Hollywood really didn't know how much, like Amazon is making or Netflix is making off the film that they wrote or produced or directed, right? Now the producers and the directors kind of cut side deals with the streaming companies. So I don't know the nature of those deals. I know that they did cut some kind of deal where they didn't go on strike, but the writers and actors didn't. And so they're going to go on strike until the big companies open their books. But what the actors and the writers don't understand is that the moment that the big streaming companies open up their books to show the actors and writers what they're making, it'll be the end of the streaming. Because when they open up their books, the investors will actually see exactly what's going on. And when they see exactly what's going on, they're going to see that they're all losing money, all of them. Streaming can't make money. It's an ineffective business plan. I just saw an ad yesterday for Disney Plus, $1.99 a month for 3 months. So $6 cost you $6 to join Disney for 3 months. So what's going on is, and it's a real big problem. First, they're sharing passwords, people are, which is really messing everything up. And then secondly, and this is a big problem at Gaia, and I'm sure it's a big problem everywhere because I do it. And that is that I'll join, say, Disney Plus for 3 months. I'll find a bargain. First off, I'm looking for a bargain. Then I find the bargain, like 3 months for $2 a month. And then I joined Disney. I watched everything that I wanted to watch in that time period. I did it in the winter when I had a lot of time. And then, boom, I ended it at the end of 3 months. And everybody's doing that. And so how are they going to make money if I just watched all of your content and it gave you $6? It's not going to make it. The streaming's not going to make it. And and I don't know where this ends. Uh, I hope the writers and actors succeed. Actually, I hope they force them to open their books, because I mean, I don't want everything to fall apart, but this is the end of Hollywood as we know it. They cannot sustain it. You're going to see the falling away of big blockbuster movies. They're not going to be made anymore. Disney announced, what, 2 days ago, Bob Iger of Disney announced that they were cutting back all of their big budget movies, cutting back on all their production, laying off a third of the workforce in the film business, not the parks. They're also laying off people in their parks because they're going out of business. And so I think you're going to see the end of Hollywood, the end of the big studios. They'll still be there, but they'll be making little movies. And this is like a real chance for the indies, the independent filmmakers, to rise up. Now, I've got my new film, JFKx, out on all those streaming platforms. And so the question that I ask is, can a filmmaker make a living off of streaming? And I'm going to say I don't think they can, but I will know soon if they can. And if they can't, then that's probably it, because not even then filmmaker will just be a hobby, and just people who make films just to make films, and there won't be much of a business at all. So we'll find out. I mean, I'll know in the next 3 to 6 months whether JFKx is making any money or not. And then I'll be able to tell you. If it doesn't make any money, then that's probably a bad sign for all of us independent filmmakers. And if it does make a lot of money, that's a good sign. So we're at the end of this whole era, and it's a good thing, because that era, although a lot of really good films got made in that era, there's a lot of propaganda going on, and that's going to end. Now, they'll still pay for propaganda. So almost all of the larger movies that will be coming out, unless they're based on like a novel or something, they're going to be largely propaganda for whatever cause, climate change or LGBT or whatever. There's like a million propaganda things. Those will be, they'll go out and raise money within the community that they're making the film about. So they'll go to the LGBT community and raise whatever, 200 grand or 2 million, 5 million, whatever, and bring it back and make that propaganda movie in support of that community. Those movies are so boring. Nobody wants to watch them. So everybody just wants to watch a movie, that has, a hero and a villain, good story and all of that. And that is going to come back, but it's not going to be back in the kind of the gigantic form that it was before. It's going to come back in much smaller. It's going to be small crews, just like we did on JFK. Small crews, modern equipment, fast moving, no time to waste. Get it done as fast as you can, but do it good. And that's the only way you can make a film on a low budget. So it's the end of Hollywood, and it's a very sad thing. It really is. But they did it to themselves. They screwed the pooch with the hiring bad writers. They kind of used up all of the content, especially during the whole COVID thing. There were, everybody was at home watching TV because they were all locked down, and so everybody used up all the content. We watched everything, and so that's another problem that they're having. And they've used up all the content. I mean, at first, basically, Marvel has used up all of the Marvel, all the good stuff that Marvel Comics produced, and DC can't get off the ground one way or another. Outside of Batman and the Joker, they can't really get anything going. So everything is falling apart, and it's both amazing and incredible to watch, especially since I spent my whole lifetime in the business, and it kind of breaks my heart to see it happening. But they listen to BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard, and these guys are not, I know they look like they're investment companies, and they are investment companies, but they're more than that. They're arms of a giant octopus spreading out, buying up everything for a specific purpose. There's no accident that the symbol for Saturn is a black cube, and Black Rock is, the company. And um, and anyway, it's not a good thing. We should break up those companies. They have way too much money and power, but I think they own all the politicians, so I don't think that'll ever happen either. Anyway, Hollywood, rest in peace. It was nice knowing you. You got perverted by your own lack of ideals, and now you're paying the price. And that's it. I'm Jay Weidner. This is Reality Check. Thanks for watching, and I will be back, I hope.